Welcome to Concept Craft. We are presenting step-by-step videos training to crack your certification exam, so you can gain the confidence to take on any accounting challenge. Now let's begin our today's lesson. New features in the Banking Center. Learning outcomes. In this lesson, we'll cover new features in the Banking Center. Topics. Categorization history feature. The Banking Center in QuickBooks Online is where clients can review the banking activity in their bank and credit card accounts and bring transactions into the company's books. Like all areas of QuickBooks Online, the Banking Center constantly evolves to offer improved functionality and services. In this lesson, we'll run through the following enhancements to the Banking Center. Categorization history feature. Bank feed image feature. Categorization history feature. One enhancement to QuickBooks Online is adding the Categorization History feature to the For Review tab of a bank feed. If you've had previous experience of manually adding transactions from a bank feed, you'll know that it can be a chore to exit the banking area, open the customer or vendor list, find the right customer/vendor, then look for any similar transactions that were previously entered. The Categorization History feature can help make this task quicker and more accurate. To explain how the feature works, we'll look at a transaction from a vendor that needs categorizing. Select the headings to reveal more about the Categorization History feature. Launching the feature. Using the feature. What happens next? Launching the feature. The transaction we'll deal with is the highlighted payment to the vendor Squarespace. Open the transaction to view the details. As long as a vendor/customer has been selected, you'll see a Categorization History link at the bottom of the Transaction Details panel. If no vendor/customer is selected, this option won't appear. Selecting this link opens the Categorization History feature. Using the feature. Selecting the Categorization History link opens a panel that lists how previous transactions to the same vendor have been categorized. You can use the Sort By drop-down to sort these transactions by either the category that's been used most or the one that was last used. In this example, you can see that 8 previous transactions from this vendor were categorized as advertising. Selecting details will give you more information about these 8 transactions. Note that the transactions listed here are from the last 12 months, regardless of which bank or credit card account was used for each transaction. If you want to use the same category, select it with the radio button and then select Assign Category. As you can see, the transaction is now correctly categorized. You can add it to QuickBooks Online in the usual way. What happens next? In the For Review tab, QuickBooks Online now suggests the same category, advertising, in the category or match column for other money out transactions involving the same vendor. This is the same behavior that QuickBooks Online follows when the suggested categorization is turned on. You can choose to accept or override QuickBooks Online's suggestion. Pro Advisor Tip. For a recap of how to add and categorize transactions manually from a bank feed, take a look at the Managing Transactions in the Bank Feed lesson. Bank Feed Image feature. Another enhancement to the Banking Center relates to the information that's available for check and deposit payments. As you'll know, check and deposit transactions in bank feeds can often contain very little detail about the transaction. Clients might only get basic information such as the payment date and amount, but not necessarily who the payment was to from, or what it was for. This can make it challenging for clients to categorize the transaction and/or find matching sales receipts or invoices. However, the information the client needs is often written on the check/deposit itself. A new feature in QuickBooks Online allows images to be included with check and deposit payment transactions in bank feeds from available U.S. banks. Use the following questions to explore the bank feed image feature. How are deposit/check images acquired? When you make a deposit or check payment at branches of certain U.S. banks, they can take a copy of the paper check or deposit receipt. They'll take an image of both the front and back if required, to ensure that all important information is captured. At the bank, they attach these images to the transaction when they record the payment. How do check/deposit images come through the bank feed? When check/deposit transactions with accompanying images come in via the bank feed, the number of attachments will be displayed in the attachment column, that is, the column with the paperclip icon. You can view the attachments by selecting the hyperlinks in the Transaction Details panel. In this example, the 2 attachments are both named Receipt. Selecting the attachment hyperlink opens a pop-up panel showing a preview of the image. If multiple images are attached, you can scroll through them using the previous/next image controls. Using the toolbar under the attachment preview, clients can do the following. View the front and rear of the check/deposit. Magnify/shrink the image view. Exclude the image from the transaction. Download the image. How can you use the information on the images to help categorize transactions? To answer this question, let's look at an example. A client finds a transaction for $2,235.82 in the For Review tab of a bank feed. The transaction is marked as a deposit, but it doesn't state the payee or what the deposit was for. However, the bank did attach 4 images with the transaction. The images are of 3 checks, deposit payments, from different customers, plus the following deposit summary slip with details of all 3 payments. The client can now use this information to enter the missing transaction details in the For Review tab. They can then add the transaction, including the attached images, to their books. When the client views the recorded deposit transaction in QuickBooks Online, they can view and open the attachments. Note that if the deposit was already entered in QuickBooks Online and you match the bank feed transaction to it, instead of adding the transaction to the books, the attachments wouldn't be included here. Summing up. Learning outcomes. Well done. In this lesson, we covered new features in the banking center. Knowledge recap. You can now show your clients how to use the new categorization history and bank feed image features in the banking center to help them get even more value from QuickBooks Online. Next steps. In the next lesson, we'll look at creating and using bank rules in QuickBooks Online.